Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Undisputed Heavyweight Champion of the World show made for the fans by a fan. I am your host, as always, Richard Tiemann. This is the ever-growing, always expanding, award-winning fan show. Was a good weekend. I want to thank all of you for continuing to spread the good word of Fan Show. We were just, I think, 49 amazing likes away on Facebook from the big 1K. That's right, 1,000. Who would have thought? And decided to throw together a little merch package for one lucky winner out there. 5 items in honor of the 5-time Super Bowl champion San Francisco 49ers. But don't let that keep you from liking the show, because it's not going to be filled with their stuff. It's filled with mine. There's going to be a shirt, a hat, an item of my choosing, a one of one. So you'll be the only person with this other item. And then the 5th and final item is something a bit more for you, the lucky winner. So go and tell all your friends, spread the word, shout it from the rooftops, whatever you do, because it's going to be a whole lot of fun getting to the big 1,000 and then picking a winner. And I look forward to seeing who that is. It's a Facebook-only contest, and the 3 ways that you enter are either liking the post with the announcement, sharing the fan show page. Doesn't do any good to share the post from my personal page. There's nothing. And then you can leave a review on iTunes, which I encourage. That gets you actually probably more brownie points in regards to entries, just because the more reviews there are on iTunes, the higher up the priority list your show goes on iTunes and could be discovered by more and more listeners. And that's the ultimate goal, right? Is to be discovered by more and more people out there so that you can finally pay for everything. You can quit your stupid day job and have this fun and fantastic thing be the day job. But that's just me. It's just bitter me venting a few things out there. Anyway, so I encourage you all, even if we're not friends on Facebook, go and like us, because it's the right thing to do, right? I mean, in all honesty, I think that Facebook is one of the best ways to market to different people, right? It's something that everybody has, and you're probably more likely to have Facebook than you are Twitter. And speaking of Twitter, there's an announcement coming your way for that as well. And then, let's see, is there anything else I need to touch on before we get to the actual headlines portion of the show? I'm thinking. Oh yeah, tonight's going to be a good one. We got Spokane favorite Trevor Kennedy returning to the show, TK. He's going to stop by, talk life in Jacksonville as a Shark, as we get, we're full push now to the National Arena League postseason. There has been yet another shakeup of the top 4 teams. All playoff seeds have been spoken for, all of them. But it's what order the teams will be in going into the playoffs. Will it be, a home game for Massachusetts, an away game for Jacksonville? How's this all going to pan out? We've got a few scenarios out there. But, man, what a season it's been. And so without further ado or any more delay, let's go ahead and get to today's headlines. Headlines, of course, brought to you by Dynamite Enterprises. Hit up Ethan today. I can't say this enough because I just went through another tour of Ethan's facility for Dynamite Enterprises yesterday, and the man is doing some serious work. And I don't say that lightly. I don't say that unless you are, in fact, an individual doing work, putting in the work. What I do with the tour and with the different events that I cover, that's what he does, but with putting your logo or awesome artwork onto merchandise. So anyone lucky enough to have gotten or purchased a Fan Show shirt, one of these newer ones, because this is technically the 3rd version of the shirt that's come out. There was the when we hit 10,000 followers on Twitter, which we've dropped below that since, but that's okay. We knew that there was a chance of that happening. But but there was the celebrating that milestone. We had those shirts through Bonfire. Had a minimum requirement. We met it not once but twice, and so there are a select few out there, a small group, not a select few. I think there's like 24 people out there with these exclusive shirts for the occasion. And then there was Teespring, which you can still go and order shirts on Teespring. You can pick any color. You can even get hoodies. But those have been great. I've seen blue ones, green ones, red ones, pink ones out there. And the hoodies, I guess, are super comfy. But Ethan put together a batch of just super soft, charcoal colored. They look fantastic, very vivid, very bright. And so anybody lucky enough to have gotten their hands on one of those, they will tell you. They will sing the praises of Dynamite Enterprises and how awesome their product is. And it's not just shirts. Hats, we're looking at hats right now. They do tablecloths, like if you see at a booth at a convention somewhere, they do those. Foam fingers, trophies. We talked about underwear yesterday because I always say maybe he can customize underwear, but I'm not sure. Yeah, if he can find a way to get underwear, he'll slap your logo on it. So think about that, folks. But whether it's screen printing, embroidery, or whatever you need done, maybe even just spray painted through a stencil, he can do it at Dynamite Enterprises. So hit up Ethan at dynamiteenterprises.com. Tell him you heard the good stuff from me here, and he might hook you up with a deal. But today's headlines, so let's first start out with the National Arena League news. Now, the Pirates, they lost a close one to the Jacksonville Sharks, 45-36, and we knew this was going to be close, but we didn't know that it was going to end because of something that happened early on in the game. Sean Brackett went down with an injury. He did not return. Obviously, still a very close game, so their depth at quarterback, it would appear that they're doing all right. Of course, Amir has a great defense on the Pirates as well, but the Sharks, man, you don't want to give them an inch. They will take a mile, and that's what they did. At home, last home game for the Sharks of the regular season. They packed the place, so good for them. But Sean Brackett, I texted him yesterday, told him that I was pulling for him. He said he was getting x-rays, so we'll wait to hear the official word on Brackett's status, as well as Espinoza. He went down too. And the Lions actually have gotten swept now. That's right. Or no, not swept. The Cobras sweep the Steelhawks, but who hasn't done that to the Steelhawks this year as they're still winless on the season? 79-28, so Cobras bounce back after that tough loss in Massachusetts in a big way on the road, so that's good. But the Columbus Lions did fall to the Maine Mammoths. Man, these guys are just on fire right now. It is crazy. Maine Mammoths. They were tied for dead last with Lehigh Valley. Their only two wins of the season being over Lehigh Valley. Guess what? They're at 6-8 now. They have rattled off, I think, 4 in a row, if memory serves me correctly. So your standings as they are right now, and this could be the playoff picture. Your number 1 seed, currently the Jacksonville Sharks, 10-5. Number 2 seed, Massachusetts Pirates, 10-5. Those two teams would host a playoff game. Massachusetts would host the number 3 seed, which right now is the Carolina Cobras at 9-5. They're half a game back. And then Jacksonville would host the number 4 seed as of right now, which is the Columbus Lions. It is worth noting that Columbus cannot be the number 1 seed, okay? They're either going to be 2, 3, or 4, and I think it's very likely they will either be 3 or 4 regardless. Lions are probably going to be on the road come the postseason. For Massachusetts, Carolina, and Jacksonville, they all are right there to host a postseason game, and the Mammoths could really wreck a few people's hopes and dreams. In fact, we have Jacksonville at Maine. Oh, so that could change everything. Nobody wants to play Maine right now. And I think we're going to have Bert Brown on the show Thursday to talk just about that. So Jacksonville has got to be looking at this streak that Maine is on and be like, man, we picked the wrong time to have them on our schedule right now. And then you will have Columbus and Carolina. That's a really good game That's shaping up to be a good rivalry, too. It has less impact on the Lions win or lose, more on Carolina win or lose. And then, of course, Massachusetts will host Lehigh Valley for that game. And that is your final week of National Arena League regular season before the postseason, before the championship. So we will know everything we need to know once that final horn blows this Saturday. But that's for Thursday. For right now, we've got some NFL news. Stephon Diggs signed a hefty deal. He is pretty much inked that he is the Vikings' top guy there. He signs a 5-year, $72 million extension. How ridiculous is that? Eric Decker works out for the Patriots. Big surprise there. Who doesn't work out for the Patriots when they're at the end of their career? Raiders, Mack haven't talked extension since February, referring to Khalil Mack. Cards, former Vikings and Cards wide receiver Floyd signs with the Saints. That's good for Breeze. Wide receiver of the Seattle Seahawks, Baldwin, has a knee injury. He is to miss a couple of weeks. And then Packers fear Ryan has serious knee injury. So that's not good. But all the rest, though, I mean, this is your training camp headlines right now. And there's going to be a lot of talk about guys like Patrick Mahomes, Rosen, Luck, all the guys coming back and all the guys making their first starts in the NFL. The podcast awards, the Fan Show, thank you, Fan Nation, has been nominated for not one but two, the People's Choice Award and Best Sports in the Best Sports category. This is your last chance to nominate/vote. The show has been nominated, but for every additional nomination, that technically counts as like a vote, so that we make the final cut. As far as like, there's several nominees, but the final batch of nominees will be announced, I think, in 2 weeks' time, and then the voting will start. And if you're lucky enough, if you signed up to be one of the voters, like, hey, pick me, and you do get picked, then you can cast your vote for the Fan Show. But don't forget, that is at podcastawards.com. Click nominations, go fill it out, get yourself taken care of. The outdoors division will officially get started this weekend. I'm going with Brian Klum of Klum Dog Outdoors. He'll be on the show Thursday to give us a little backstory on the origins of his guide service, if you will. We're going to go up to Priest Lake this weekend, catch some Mackinac. The divisions are now officially on Twitter. The four, not the outdoors one, because we still have to come up with a logo for that, because that was a late addition. But go and follow the other four. So we have 5 out of the 6 for the Infinity Gauntlet. And that is, of course, at fanshow_music, at fanshow_robotic, at fanshow_wrestle, and at fanshow_pop. Speaking of robotics, BattleBots returns this Friday. I will have one of the judges, first time that we've had a judge on the show. Tomorrow night, Derek Young, the BattleBots bad boy, as they call him. You won't want to miss that. SummerSlam is 3 weeks away. Brock Lesnar, Roman Reigns, yawn. And then, of course, Fan Nation Fantasy Football League, we are set. I originally wanted 10 spots. We got 12, but this year, man, it is stacked. Comedian Chris Cope is going to join the Fan Nation Fantasy Football League and compete for a belt, as well as our favorite leading lady from NFL Network, Erin Coscarelli, is going to be a part of that. So we've got quite the assortment, the eclectic collection of peeps, some returning favorites, and some new faces. And that will do it for today's headlines. We'll probably talk a little bit more after TK comes on, but we will go to commercial break and be right back with more of The Fan Show after this. You're listening to The Fan Show, your home for all things football and nonsense. My special guest tonight, Farouk. Farouk, welcome.
He's no expert, but here's the thing. Football and nonsense is what he brings. Sports talk with a twist. It's The Fan Show!
Do you know him as Kevin from the League? It is none other than very funny Steve Ranazisi.
99% of the population doesn't know who I am. but the 1% do, they yell and scream inappropriate things at me in public.
Kyle Ray. Kyle, welcome.
And I was like, wow, I think we just saw the whole Super Bowl, Phyllis. It's like that scene in The Simpsons, like, why rent the movie? I just saw the best part.
Funny man Brad Williams.
Yeah, I'm here. No, I flew in just for your podcast. I've heard about this podcast. I've heard it's fantastic.
It's Mac and Farva, but they are my special guests tonight. Steve Lemmy, Kevin Heffernan.
I was in Mexico for 10 weeks in a Speedo. Like, that was me going to work. I was putting on a Speedo.
Like, Farva is the most fun to play, and it was a blast to do that again, to do Farva again.
So then the makeup artist had to put Vaseline on your body, right?
Yeah.
And then put the powdered sugar on top of that. Is your name really Richard Siemens?
Listen live every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday night on Spreaker.com or subscribe to the podcast on iTunes and SoundCloud. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back, and joining me, Spokane favorite, but he now resides in sunny Jacksonville, Florida. It is Trevor Kennedy of the Sharks. How you doing, TK?
I'm doing all right. I don't know about that sunny, man. It rains a lot.
Yeah, but Sharks swim, so you're all right. Hey, when it comes to this National Arena League, what were your thoughts on? Because this is where you were initially supposed to be, and then you made a trip up to Albany. Now you're back. I mean, are you sold on this style of play?
It's football. Really, I mean, it's still X's and O's. It's very similar to the arena game. It's besides really the Nets. It's fun. It's fast paced, and it makes for an exciting time.
Yeah, and it looks like you've done very well for yourself. Of course, the object is to still get to that next level, and you've had some conversations, some invites places, so you're keeping active, you're keeping healthy. You've got 1 week of the regular season left, and then, of course, all eyes will be on the Sharks, the Cobras, the Pirates, and the Lions for the postseason. What's the mood been like in that locker room with just 1 week left of the regular season?
Just focused. I mean, we all set out to win a championship. You know, we got a nice group of guys that play hard, and we play for each other. And you know, we're not overlooking our last game. We want to go down there, and get over the playoffs. You know.
Yeah, I think that when it comes to the Sharks, from what I've seen, and I know that this is a young league, but obviously the Sharks have a long history in the arena setting. But you know, there's a lot that they've had to overcome and a lot that they have overcome. What would you say has been like the one thing, maybe the message from your coach or just the focus that has gotten you guys through all the, you know, curveballs that have been thrown at you this season?
I mean, just taking the punches and rolling with them, really. I mean, you know, it's football and stuff always goes awry. You got, you know, stuff off the field that may happen, but you know, when we come into that locker room, we just knuckle down and we, you know, try to get it done as best we can. You know, keeping everybody together, keeping everybody in, it's part of our thing. And as long as we're locked in and we buy in, you know, great things can happen.
Yeah, and you guys have done very well for yourself. Right now, the Sharks are in the driver's seat. So obviously, if you guys win, you're the number 1 seed, and the playoffs will go through the tank in Jacksonville. What's that crowd like? I mean, you couldn't be more away from Spokane, where you started your career, than you are right now. What's the opposites or similarities and differences like being that far away in an environment like that?
Man, it rivals Spokane's crowd. I mean, it gets loud in there to where you can't hear. The fans are very passionate. They dress up in all the colors, red and white and black. And you know they're there and they're, you know, they're gonna let you know when you do well. They're gonna let you know when you do bad. So, you know, they get loud, and it reminded me of Spokane. And I mean, I don't know if it's 1A and 1B or vice versa, but it's pretty cool.
Well, I mean, it's good that you have a pretty comforting environment there to go from one to the next, especially if it rivals Spokane's. But what's your favorite thing about being in a place like Jacksonville?
I don't know. I mean, probably playing football. I love meeting some fans, and I mean, you know me, I'm a super. I guess the beach, but it's a little too hot outside for me. I sweat way too easy and way too often, so I stay in the air conditioning until it's time, you know, to practice. Or I'll go out every once in a while, but Florida's all right. But I'm more of a West Coast guy.
Well, Arizona, they practice outside because they want to give themselves a harder workout during practice than when they step out in that field in the cool air-conditioned arena, and that makes a lot of sense. But I see a lot of guys in Florida post videos of doing workouts on the beach. Is there a reason behind that? Like, have you found yourself getting invites to go work out on the beach, running routes or whatever?
No, that sounds like a horrible idea to me. I mean, it's so hot and it's so humid that even when we practice outside, you just leak. You literally are just like jumped in a pool with all your clothes on, and then you walked out of there and decided to practice. Like I've never been invited, and even if I was invited, I'd most likely turn it down. 100%.
The gym is your favorite place to be, and there's air conditioning in there. Well, now that you're a Shark and you guys are poised for the postseason and in a good spot at that, is a championship the kind of one of the last things that you have left to accomplish, other than, of course, personal goals? Because Spokane, you came really close that first year, and then you've kind of, you had the injury, and so that kept you sidelined for a while. So now that you've had a chance to not only come back and be back for a while, but you've clearly found your groove once again, do you feel like you're 100% and ready for that championship now?
Yeah. Getting locked in, letting the body heal up. I mean, it's a different type of banging, and anything can happen at any time. And, now it's just focusing on that championship and getting that ring.
Now, of course, this isn't the first rodeo for the Sharks. They are the first and only NAL champions. What's the message been like from Coach Burley in there as far as making sure that you guys are focused on the now and not thinking about the past or the guys that have been there or haven't been there? Like, what, as far as coaches you've had, what makes him unique, and where does he kind of rank?
Focusing on the now, and the guy's kind of is really a guru. Like he's so smart, he knows the game so well. But just keeping us focused in on the now. He said, championship teams figure a way to win. He said, no matter what happens, no matter what goes wrong, goes right, or doesn't go right, we got to find a way to win. And I think we've done a great job, especially late, of doing that. And he keeps us, grounded, and he keeps us together.
Yeah, and that's probably one of the most important things, is keeping grounded going into the playoffs, because that really is, a one-game season. At that point, you can't really look ahead or look past an opponent. But you guys have tall order this weekend. Nobody wants to play Maine right now, but guess what? You guys are headed up to Maine to take on the Red Hot Mammoths. What do you think about this team, and are you glad that you won't have to see them in the postseason?
I mean, for me, it's never really, my game is my game, and watching film and getting ready for whoever we're going to play next, it happens from week to week. So there's never really a team that I don't want to see or that I care not to see. But I mean, Maine's on fire right now, and it's not going to be an easy game. And they're at home. Their DBs found their niche to where they're playing defense, and they figured it out on offense as well this past couple of weeks. And so, we're going to have a solid game plan, and we're going to have to stay focused and be ready to play, because I believe it's going to come down to the wire.
Now, of course, you're going to be face-to-face with a former teammate, Robert Brown. Do you think he's going to be gunning for you on the field?
Maybe, possibly. I truly don't know, but, it's football. I want to win. He want to win. So I don't think he's going to let me score. Maybe I'll text him and see, let me get a couple of touchdowns. Maybe I'll let him get a pick or something. But,
well, I'm glad that you guys can keep it friendly down there on the field. So you guys go to Maine, and, of course, you win, and that's all she wrote for the number 1 seed. You lose, and then a few things need to play out. But obviously it looks like you guys should host a playoff game, if not the championship, should it come to that. So congratulations on a season well played so far. There's been a lot of ups and downs, and of course you've been there for some of it, but here you are for the most important part of it. Being in an environment in a market like Jacksonville, of course, there's the Jaguars there, and then all the different Florida teams. Do you feel like this has been sort of a destiny spot for you? Like this might be where you finally get that next look for that next level?
I really don't know. I hope so. I mean, I just try to live in the present and do the best things that I can do, right now. Obviously, I'm always gunning for that, but if I get caught up chasing that, then I can't do the things that I need to do well now to make that even feasible. So, I just worry about playing my best game, getting out there and helping my team win, and everything else will work itself out.
All right, man. Well, I look forward to seeing you play your best game this weekend and in the playoffs. I know that the folks up here in Spokane always talk about you. They always miss you, and they watch you however they can, be it on YouTube or whatever other channel that we got to catch these games on. But, hey, man, always a pleasure to talk to you. Glad to see that you're back to 100% and you're kicking ass out there. So, hey, best of luck for the rest of, the regular season and then, of course, the postseason.
Thank you. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, you take care, man. Hopefully I'll see you in the championship.
Thank you. Hey, I hope so as well.
All right, man. Take care.
All right, you too. Bye.
All right, that was TK, Trevor Kennedy of the Jacksonville Sharks, talking some National Arena League football. And the man, he's probably one of my favorite people as far as just the differences of personalities in different environments. So on the field, that man is one of the most outspoken guys on there. Like, I don't mean in a cocky way either. I mean, like, when he wants the ball and when he gets it, like, he can do dangerous and amazing things. He will go and he will get in that end zone one way or another. He will flip in there. Literally, I've seen it. It's on the Fan Show's YouTube page. Go check it out. So very outspoken on the field. He's pumped. He's jacked. He's got his end zone dance going on, his signature move, whatever. But then you get him in front of the camera or on a microphone, and the guy couldn't be more coy. It's so funny to me to see that the real TK comes out on the field, but then you interview him and he's a bit more, humbled and controlled. I'm not saying he's not humble on the field, but you see what I mean, where it's a player can be very much like that's their zone on the field, but you get him anywhere else and it's like, what do I do? Like, what am I don't know what to do with my hands right now. So thank you, TK, Trevor Kennedy, for stopping by. That was a lot of fun there. Jacksonville Sharks, man, playing Maine. That, I think, will probably be the game of the week if I had to pick one. Now, I know that the other game we were talking about with, what was it? I just had it here. Why did it move? Okay. The Lions and Cobras, I think that'll be a very good game. But for some reason, just the fact that one team is in the playoffs and the other is not, but yet one has the longest winning streak going and the other one has, like, all they need to do is win and they host a playoff game and they probably host the championship, should it come to that. But something about that game, very, very, very interesting. I'm excited to see that one. So I'm going to have to try to avoid spoilers, though, because, like I said, we're doing stuff for the Outdoors division this weekend. I will be up at Priest Lake with Brian Klum of Klum Dog Outdoors. He'll be on the show Thursday. Derek Young tomorrow for the weekly BattleBots special, the bad boy of BattleBots, and that is coming back this Friday at 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific for the second half of the season. And it's crazy to think that if this was the ABC BattleBots, season would have already been over by now. We would have crowned a champion, whether a new or repeat, but we are only midway through. The Discovery Channel and Science Channel partnership has been phenomenal. I've had a lot of fun. I've gotten so much more BattleBots content and interviews this season than I did all of the initial time that I covered it. Granted, I came on a little late there, but still, so much more room for opportunity with this format. So much more to discuss with this format. So, to take it from the top, we have, for pop culture, the podcast awards. I don't know why that's pop culture, but it feels like that would be a good fit for the pop culture category. Pop Culture Podcast Awards. Go vote or nominate, and today is the last day to do that. So you want to do it because I don't know if it's midnight Eastern or midnight Pacific, but you got a few hours left to go and do that. So please go and do that. For wrestling, SummerSlam. It's coming up. Roman Reigns, Brock Lesnar. Just SmackDown's on right now. It just started. But Raw is... Here's the irony, because I watch it the next day, the 90-minute version on Hulu, because, one, I'm not going to watch 3 hours worth of Raw. There's just no way with its current story writing that you could get me to sit through 3 hours of the current product of Raw. I would sit through 3 hours of SmackDown, absolutely. 2 hours, no problem. But to ask me to sit through 3 hours of the same regurgitated junk that they have put out there in the main event, can't do it. So I will watch the 90-minute version the next day and cut out the excess garbage and leave me the garbage main courses. But I was watching the first part of it, and then I jumped on the show, and once the show's over, I'll go and I'll watch the second half of it. It's like Paul Heyman and Brock Lesnar. Brock Lesnar is probably one of the worst things to ever happen to WWE, yet Paul Heyman is like one of the best things to ever happen to it. So there's irony number one, is that you've got the worst champion, the worst reigning champion, storyline, whatever, main event guy ever. I'm talking worse than Jinder, because for different reasons. Okay, I think Jinder was a terrible, terrible choice to put the belt on for as long as they did. But it's the fact that he was there and he defended it and he was actually at the events. Brock Lesnar, not the case. Like, the Universal title has so much ground to make up for to become even a legitimate title again. Like right now, it goes WWE title, Intercontinental title, US title, and then like the Cruiserweight or the tag titles, and then the Universal. Even if they put it on Roman Reigns, like I'm going to be like, you're the Universal Champion. That's like being the hardcore champion. You know, they just give it to anybody. So, but the irony of it is this, and that is that you have the best thing that happened to WWE and Paul Heyman. Maybe people would say it was Eric Bischoff, both his role with WCW and then when he came over to Raw. And this is all from strictly like a storyline managerial point of view, not like a superstar, because obviously that would be Chris Jericho, Shawn Michaels, Stone Cold Steve Austin, and The Rock. But the worst thing that happened is Brock Lesnar, and then Brock Lesnar being champion. Now, here's the real irony of the night, though. I watched the first part, and I've seen the spoilers. I've seen the 3 best moments of the night all came from Paul Heyman or Brock Lesnar. Like, you can't make this up. The 3 best moments of Monday Night Raw came from the combination of the best thing and the worst thing that happened to it. And that's just, that's unreal. Like, you can't write that. You can't. Paul Heyman coming out, starting off the show, saying that the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and over again and expecting a different result, and that if that's the case, Roman Reigns should be in a straitjacket and a padded cell, was probably the burn of the night. And then for Brock Lesnar to be reading magazines backstage and then say, I don't watch the show, Paul. Why would I watch? Like, that's how I feel. I don't watch the show. Why would I? I do, but I don't. I give it 90 minutes maybe, and then that's it. Just so I can keep up on the storyline, hoping, praying that there's a change on the horizon. And I don't know. So that's your SummerSlam Raw update. Of course, we'll probably talk SmackDown tomorrow. Outdoors division, we covered that going up to Priest Lake. So we've covered pop culture. We have covered wrestling. We have covered outdoors. We have covered robotics. So that leaves us with music. MXPX and Mike Herrera had themselves a pair of shows in the Pacific Northwest over the weekend. That was, I wish I was there. It looked like a blasty blast. They played the Showbox in the Rose or the Hawthorne Theater. And then their new album, their 10th album, is out now. So you will definitely want to go and give that one a listen. I listened to it at least like a dozen times, start to finish, and it does not get old. It is awesome. absolutely love everything that they have done with that album. I completely agree with him when he says that he feels like this is the most MXPX album ever. And the NFL, Malcolm Jenkins. So now we're talking sports, football specifically. Malcolm Jenkins was in an interview, and he said that the protest is nothing against the military or the flag or the anthem. It's against social injustices, and that's just how it's going to be. And people in the comments were still roasting him. It's like, why? Why? Like, go live. Mm-hmm. I don't get it. I don't understand why people get so triggered. I really don't. One thing that I know the Fan Show will never have a division for is racing or cars, because people in cars, like, you see their true nature. You see how terrible human beings can be. You don't want those problems. And then, as I mentioned, the Fan Nation, the third annual Fan Nation Fantasy Football League is set, and it is stacked. So excited for this. Can't even begin to describe just how great this season is going to be. We've got some returning folks. We've got some new faces. We've got some celebrity sort of cameos that are going to be, doing this thing. And there's a belt on the line. And why is there a belt on the line? That's because for the third year in a row, Undisputed Belts is proud. I mean, I shot him an email. I said, hey, we doing this? Absolutely, was the response. So Undisputed Belts hooking us up again. A belt is going to go to someone. Will someone get 2 belts this time? Well, Brett has been too busy, so he's not in the league this year, which is sad. He tried to defend his title last year. But Rob, last year's champion, he's back. Leveland Rob, you know him, you love him. He's going to be in there, and he's going to be trying to get belt numero 2. We'll see if he can do it. I don't know if he can. I think the deck is just too stacked against him. And then we've got Connor's going to be there. Mr. Video Guy Rich Bauer. It's his birthday today. You guys should go and wish Rich a happy birthday, because why not? Go and follow him. Wish him a happy birthday at Mr. Video Guy. And then don't forget to follow the Fan Show's divisions. You can follow one or you can follow all. I mean, whichever piques your interest. But there's at fanshow_robotic. Not robotics, because there wasn't enough room. Robotic. At fanshow_music. At fanshow_pop for pop culture. And at fanshow_wrestle. Not wrestling, not wrestling, just wrestle. So go give them a follow, because those will be tweeting out different content. And then, of course, the Fan Show will still be doing the Fan Show things and probably retweeting a lot of that stuff. So you guys are in the know and aware. But if you like music, there's a Twitter account for that. If you like BattleBots, robotics, there's a Twitter account for that. If you like wrestling, there's a Twitter account for that. And if you like pop culture, Comic-Con, movies, whatever, there is a Twitter account for that. So go follow, like, love, and share. Don't forget, we are on Spotify now. That's right, the Fan Show can be heard on the Spotify sound waves. Go and give it a like. Give the iTunes one a review. You could be entered to win a merch package. Go like us on Facebook. And, oh boy, I think that's probably going to do it for this too. It's really hot, so I'm kind of like, okay, are we done? Can we be done? Let's take one more quick look at NFL.com to see if there's anything that I missed. Jalen Ramsey talking Odell Beckham. That's fun. Jalen Ramsey, as reported by Austin Knobloch, is no stranger to the fine art of the hot take. But Jacksonville Jaguars cornerback kept a respectful tone when prognosticating what fans should expect in his season opening showdown with Odell Beckham Jr. on September the 9th. Let's get this out the way right now. Odell Beckham is a good receiver, Ramsey told reporters Tuesday after reporting to camp. We all know that, but you all know me at the same time. Yeah, he's good, but I'm good too. If you want to say he's the best at his position, I'm the best in my position. So we are going to get at it. We are going to give the people a show the first game of the season. And that's what Ramsey told reporters. Now, look, I was all for the Odell Beckham and Josh Norman rivalry. This is all news to me. So apparently, Odell Beckham is the target of choice amongst cornerbacks, which probably is, complimenting itself, right? But you can go ahead and call people out all you want. But, man, Josh Norman and Odell, you can't top that. I mean, these guys were at each other's throats. They wanted to rip each other apart. And it was, get the popcorn, because that was some entertaining stuff right there. Well, we'll see what Ramsey's got in store. But the fact that Odell and Norman, oh, man, that's the stuff of not football, but entertainment, and most certainly nonsense. So we've got camp. We've got rivalries. We've got football. That's right. Football is in the air. And this Eric Decker working out for the Patriots thing, God, man, seriously, who doesn't work out for the Patriots when they're towards the end of their career? It's just like, oh, man, I should get a ring. Who should I hit up? Oh, the Patriots. I bet I could go get a workout with them. We'll see what happens, though. Tomorrow I'll see if I have an update on Mr. Sean Brackett and Espinoza for the NAL, since they both went down this last week. And, man, could that change things? I was messaging Coach Back of the Cobras. I was just like, you heard anything on Brackett? He's like, no. I messaged Amir. I haven't heard anything. I said, this could change everything. And he's like, yep. So, it's heating up. And it is heating up in here. So I'm going to go ahead and call it a day, folks. I do want to thank you so much. Don't forget to check out my awesome partners at Undisputed Belts for all your belt making needs. Normally I spin this thing with whatever the occasion. But look, we're about to get into football and fantasy football. So if you need a true prize for your champion, because you're not a champion unless you're the undisputed champion. All right, so just go and hit up Undisputed Belts. Tell them I sent you. And they're going to hook you up. Whether it's one of their pre-made designs or a custom one, they're going to take care of you, because they're awesome, we're awesome, and we have an awesome relationship that we want to share with you, the people of Fan Nation. UndisputedBelts.com, okay? Or support at UndisputedBelts.com. But go and check out their designs. They just got black metal plates, man. That looks cool as hell. Put that on a white belt. Oh, chills. And then Ethan at Dynamite Enterprises. Customize your world with Dynamite Enterprises. Ethan is going to do some amazing work for your merch, whatever you need. Foam fingers, coasters, cup holders. I don't know if he does bobbleheads yet. We'll have to talk about that. But anyway, subscribe however you want to. You can listen on Spotify. There's iTunes, SoundCloud, iHeartRadio, and, of course, Spreaker, which is where we broadcast you live from. If you can catch the live show every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday at 7:30 Eastern, 4:30 Pacific. Wednesday is BattleBot's weekly special, so we'll be back tomorrow night with another one of those. Derek Young, one of the judges, will finally get to hear what all is talked about at the judges' table for BattleBots. I can't wait. I'm thrilled. And then, of course, Thursday we'll have our National Arena League preview for the final week of the regular season. And Brian Klum of Klum Dog Outdoors. We're branching out. We're going to bring every division of the Fan Show on the Fan Show. Follow us on Twitter, like us on Facebook, check us out on the Instagram and the Snapchat. And remember, folks, until next time, best of luck to you and yours. Go Niners, and it's all fun and games until you butt fumble. Good night.
Do you remember the time that Mark Sanchez ran into his own player's butt? That was funny sports.
Thank you for having me on the show, man. I love the Fan Show.